I'm going to infuriate you, right? Because I want to talk about what we heard yesterday. The helicopter coming on in to announce a fight. I say a fight, I don't even know if it is a proper fight because I think it's just masterful marketeering. I want to get your thoughts on Jake Paul, the kid off the Disney Channel, taking on the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, now 57 years of age. By that time this comes around, he'll be 58 years of age.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I think it's a very sad day, if I'm honest, and it'll be a very sad sight. I mean, Mike Tyson was like the guy that we all grew up wanting to, like, watching,
He's
getting up and listening to on your radio, and, like, do you know what I mean? He was like a phenomenon, weren't he? He was the baddest man on the planet. I mean, the day that he got knocked out, Buster Douglas, 1990, out in Tokyo, was the biggest shock ever. Like, it was a huge, huge shock. Do you know what I mean? Now you go, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, really? And do you know what really scares me about it? We know the life that Mike Tyson lives.
Yeah.
He owns all the cannabis plants and he smokes like Cheech and Chong. He's smoking all the time. He's always stoned, and, like, you just look at him and you've seen the bad health that he's been in. Recently you've seen him on crutches, etc. And you go, the kid from the Disney Channel is going to knock out Mike Tyson, and I just can't get my head around that because I just think that's a sad day for the sport. We're talking about we're talking about Anthony Joshua and will he lose his legacy if he loses to Francis Ngannou? You go, what damage would that do to Mike Tyson? Do you know what I mean? I think losing to Pete McNeely was bad enough, but a lot of people have just forgot about that. I'm sorry that I actually brought that back up. I apologise for that. Even the day when Danny Williams beat Mike Tyson, you go, what a sad day this was. And you go, we fast forward, 20-odd years, and he's getting back in the ring again with Jake Paul. I think he's really sad. I think it'll be a sad spectacle because he probably gets knocked out.
But is it...
Well, you think Mike gets knocked out? Tyson?
Yeah, well, have you seen the state of the guy, the condition
He's in a bad shape.
I know we see those 3-second clips on the pants, and he looks phenomenal, right? But he's probably sitting in the corner for 5 minutes after that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what I'm saying is he's 57 years of age. He's, he doesn't live a good life. His health's not great.
Yeah.
Come on,
Spence,
man.
Listen, if there's a State Athletic Commission that sanctions that as a proper fight, licenses that as a proper fight, think about it, a 58-year-old fella, we've seen in a wheelchair, seen on a Zimmer frame, seen struggling to walk, against a 27-year-old lad who's got zero experience at the top level of any boxing. That's criminal.
Yeah,
People should go to jail for that. You can't sanction that as a licensed
but it'll
fight.
probably be put on as an exhibition, won't it?
Right, so it's put on as an exhibition. So therefore, if these two guys come out and say, right, we're going to do an exhibition, a little bit of a roll around, proceeds are going to charity, it does change, for me, the perspective of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you've got two massive profiles there that could do a lot of good.
Yeah, you've got the fun factor then. Like, if it's an exhibition, it's a totally different thing. We're talking about if it's commissioned and it's licensed as a professional boxing contest, then it's going to be a sad spectacle because Jake Paul's going to go for it. Mike Tyson's, Mike Tyson. Yeah, Mike Tyson could win it, actually, in the first 20 seconds. But once that 20 seconds is over, we've got to look at where he's going to be at.
What does this say about Jake Paul, right? Because this is a kid that obviously came into this world leveraging his audience and using boxing to make a lot of cash. He's fought basketballers, crossover sports stars, crossover stars. He dipped his toe in, didn't he? Had a little bit of a go with Tommy Fury and came up short. But the message after that, even though he had that thing with Nate Diaz, who was an MMA star, he said, right, I'm going to take boxing seriously now. And then he goes right back to the start, takes on some novice boxers that nobody's ever heard of, and you think to yourself, do you know something? All right. You're going to be a novice boxer, OK, pal, and we're going to build this up and we're going to take on lads that have been in boxing for a bit. They might not have winning records, but we're going to go down this path. Cool. And now all of a sudden he's doing this.
Yeah.
It just, for me, at the weekend, he fought on that card that fell off with Amanda Serrano because she had the chemical thing with her eyes and what have you. Nobody talked about him last week when he was boxing. Nobody's talked about him in the aftermath since, have they? So now all of a sudden he's gone, whoa, there's no numbers here.
That ship sailed, doesn't it? That's why. It's like, him fighting the ex-MMA
Yeah, but what
stars
about the message of being a proper boxer?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you being truthful? Were you being real? Obviously not, because now we're talking about calling out a 57, 58-year-old fella.
You're talking about someone that can control the narrative. He's got such a big audience, young audience, that don't know boxing inside out. Yeah. He can control the narrative. So, I want to do boxing properly, so I want to fight Mike Tyson. Every person in the street knows who Mike Tyson is.
Yeah.
To the younger audience who's unaware and uneducated, he's fighting a legend. So he is taking it seriously. I totally take your point. The weekend, no one really spoke about it. It wasn't anywhere. And then he's come back with this blockbuster now. And for me personally, I would hate to see that.
Mate, this is what bullies
but
do.
from
This
a
is what
business
bullies do.
perspective-
This is
27-year-old lad in your athletic prime supposed to be.
Yeah, but
and you're picking on a 57-year-old fella. Yeah, all right, it's the undisputed heavyweight champion, formally. But he's 57 years of age. He's 30 years older than you. Why are you calling him out?
Troy's right though, because all the kids that follow him, if you look at the demographic of the age group that follow him, will probably go for between 14 and 17-year-olds. All those kids know Mike Tyson. A lot of those kids probably wear Mike Tyson t-shirts.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is because he's a legend, he's an icon.
Yeah.
He's like Muhammad Ali. All the kids know Muhammad Ali. You know, Muhammad Ali was boxing in the 70s.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, that's the thing. So that all the kids are going, wow, Mike Tyson, he's boxing Mike Tyson. Wow, but they see Mike Tyson as this monster still.
Yeah.
They don't look at the story and the journey that the guy's been on,
and I
the
think-
life outside of the ring.
And I think as well, you know, when you're talking about the earlier fights, when he was losing to like Daddy Williams, we knew that the motivation was money, solely money as why he was doing that. Now you look at it going, well why are you're still very successful. You've still got a huge podcast that's doing numbers. You've got the cannabis, all of this. Like, where's the motivation?
Mate, it has to be an exhibition. It has to be charity. It has to be something like that. This can't be a licensed fight. There's no way that...
It's when the governing bodies as well get involved as well, because that makes it a little bit more real. When they start making belts and things like that for it, that's what makes it a little bit more real.
I would say, I'll go put my neck on that. I think it gets sanctioned. Because
you think so?
That.
Yeah. Well, look at what happened. If you remember, when was it when Evander Holyfield fought against Vitor Belfort, MMA star?
Yeah.
That
was sad.
He was 58 years of age, right? And that shifted states, if you remember, because that was originally California.
Right.
And California went, jog on, absolutely no chance. We're going to put him through a proper rigorous test. He's 58. If you remember, Evander actually didn't get a license in New York when he was actually still fighting properly because of health issues. So they went, no, we're going to put you through a big test. It's not happening on this date. They cleared off to Florida, and Florida just went, crack on, mate.
Do you not think that the landscape...
And that was sad, though, wasn't it? Well, how
Massively
sad was that, man? Like,
Do you not think the landscape has changed, though? With so many of these type fights, the reason we're here talking now is a crossover fight.
Yeah.
There's so many YouTubers, there's misfits, there's all these things now where it's easier for a commission
Troy,
to go...
I've got a question for you.
It's part of the time.
I've got a question for you. Would you fight a YouTuber?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah. But I'm nobody.
But he's not
I've never had a
58
fight.
years old.
I'm not Mike Tyson.
No, but I'm just asking that question. You're a former, professional footballer. Played at the highest level.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
My motivation is completely different, by the way. I would do it because my kids think these guys are superheroes. So I'm fuming.
I suppose.
It's a completely different
You want to put some manners on someone.
Why are you answering that? What I'm saying is that it is a changing in the times. What I'm saying is there is an appetite for it. Like, we live in a world of entertainment.
Yeah, well, he's talking about it.
Have a scrap with KSI or someone like that.
Yeah,
talking about getting involved.
There's an appetite.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's easier for a commission now to turn around and go,
of course.
Yeah, no problem.
And it's the pound notes what they're bringing. Like Florida Commission there, because they were sanctioning big fights. All of a sudden they get to sanction a humongous fight. They get a little slice of that. They get a little slice of. But for my annoyances, I've always said with the YouTubers, crossovers, fair play, do what you need to do what you do, because it's good. Like I say, it's going to bring a younger audience now.
I'm training
the polls,
mate.
The polls.
Oh, I tell you what, I'll be like Josh by the end of this.
they appeal to so many kids, and if it gets their eyes on, and some of the shows have done. Some of the shows have done. Like Billy Joe Saunders has boxed on the card.
Yeah.
They might have tuned in a little bit early and thought, you know what, I actually like this guy.
Do you know what?
And all of a sudden you've got a new fan of boxing. But when you start messing like one with legends, two with when they were governing bodies start making belts for them. I know fighters who give their life and soul and don't win the central area or a southern area, and all of a sudden you're getting praise off the WBC or don't mess with it.
The only thing that I would say to that is I was speaking to some kids earlier, about 17, 18-year-olds. They said the first time they'd heard of Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia was on the KSI card.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's
that was a card run by Eddie Hearn, if you all remember. That was a crossover. That was a crossover moment, wasn't it?
First one, wasn't it? Yeah.
So what I'm saying is the crossover on with the YouTubes and everything else, whether you love it or whether you hate it, it's growing the sport. It is getting more rivals on the sport, even at this sort of level. When you're talking about a Parker versus Zhang, you'll have kids from that world watching this fight because they've seen KSI fight and whatever. And thought, I quite like this boxing, and they've crossed over. You will get that. You will get a trickle effect going over into boxing.
And I think just to go to your point, you can't have all this money. I don't know you're in it, so I apologise, but can't get the money and the big fights without having these guys in as well. It's part and parcel of it. They bring new eyes. Broadcasters now are going, oh, I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
We're getting the bigger fights. And I'm with you. I'm a purist. I think, you know, for every crossover fight, we need 10 proper fights.
Yeah.
But I just think the landscape, we don't want to be those old guys looking back going, oh, in my day it was like, this is the new world, unfortunately.
I'm with Adam. Like, if as an exhibition, then in like for charity, then do it. But the way it's going to get sold, and we know how it's going to be big theatre. And then the younger generation are going to say, what, Mike Tyson wasn't that much of a legend, was he? He wasn't that much of a destroyer. Baddest man on the planet. He got schooled by one at Paul's.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what's going to happen for the next generation going forward. And it's going to, in a way, I mean, he might not be bothered, but for them die-hard Tyson fans, it's going to feel like it's going to tarnish his legacy.
Absolutely, totally. It's going to sort of tear up the history books a little bit.
It is.
And it is sad.
And
that's what I find sad about it, because I just think to myself, on paper, you look at it and you go, even if Tyson was 57, he should school this kid. Like, you know what I mean? It should be done. But you go, you know the life that Tyson's had, and you go, God forbid that he beats Tyson. Could you imagine the racket that would come out of his mouth that he's beat this living legend in Mike Tyson, and it would just ruin his legacy?
If it's the other way, what if Mike hurts him?
Yeah.
There's a long way between now. It's July 20th or something like that, isn't it? It's a long way. Mike puts himself to it, gets himself in nick and goes, you know what? I'm going to run through this guy the first 2 rounds.
He had that
then what?
exhibition with Roy Jones a few years back. And
he looks in good nick.
We're talking 2 legends there that knew the score.
But my point is, if he hurts him, everyone's going to turn around and go, well, Mike's the bad guy now because you hurt this kid off the Disney Channel.
And now
boxing's awful. So
that's right.
Really have to be careful. Really, really have to be
Blurring
careful.
the lines is very, very dangerous. People need to know exactly what they're watching.
Absolutely.
This is the elite stuff.
Yeah.
This is the Mickey Mouse.
This
is not the real stuff over here. This is not boxing. A lot of this, when we talk about misfit shows and various things like that, they're not sanctioned by British Boxing Board of Control. They bring in different sanctioning bodies in order to get things over the line.